Hello, everyone. Welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone. Today, for you, we have 4 great decks, including 2 Arishem decks, the number 2 ranked deck in all of Marvel Snap, and a tournament winner. In addition, we're in the process of giving away 10 season passes here on this channel, so please hit that sub button. We bring you more new decks than everyone, at least 3 new decks every single day, and 7 days a week of videos, including a Saturday podcast with some of Marvel Snap's biggest names. If you're already subbed, like, comment, watch as long as you can. It really does help the channel grow, and we could not possibly appreciate your support more. In addition, at some point in this video, as long as you're subscribed and hit that like button, there will be a question. You leave a comment answering that question, you will be entered to win a season pass. Every single video this week has an entry to win the season pass for Gwenpool, next season's season pass. So all you have to do is comment on the specific part of the video that has a question for you, this video, and that will be an entry from the comments to this video, and yesterday's video, and the day before's video, and tomorrow's video, etc. There will be a season pass given away. Our first deck is the Prophecy. This deck does not look like it should work. This is completely wild and a totally original deck created by GamingwithFlashX. It is fundamentally built around Sersi. This deck peaked at number 2 on the Infinite Leaderboard, chilled out around level 3 because Sizer has seemingly ceased sleeping. Go to bed, Sizer. But this is just an absolutely stellar deck. It's very high variance, but that variance can really work in your favor, and you can get a lot of wins for big cubes, which is hugely important, obviously, in Marvel Snap, because you know when you're going to retreat, right? You know when your Nick Fury gave you nothing, you know when your Helicarrier gave you nothing, and you can just run for 1 on those games. However, your opponent doesn't know when it gave you that powerful thing, and unless they're super respectful of your snaps, you're going to get big cubes whenever you go, because no one knows what the hell you're playing when you try this deck. GamingwithFlashX is one of the best players in the world. Again, currently rank 3 in the world, or last I checked, rank 3 in the world. You can find Woody at twitch.tv/GamingwithFlashX if you'd like to watch some of these games with this deck. This deck needs Proxima, Sersi, and Corvus. I'm aware that's 3 newer cards. Sorry. Makari here is really good, but it could just be Wolverine. You're not losing too much. Makari is mostly just here for hand space so that you can have an extra Helicarrier card or get that Nick Fury out. It's also something you're not totally sad to chuck with Corvus. Alright, so this peaked at number 2, currently number 3. Turn 1, you would like to play Quinjet. Turn 2, it's Collector, generally speaking, over Cable. Collector is a lane winner in this list, just like he was with Old Loki. Turn 3, if possible, you'd like to play Corvus over Sif. Turn 4, especially if you Corvus, you would love to Nick Fury. If you didn't Corvus, Fury is less of a great play. You would Fury for Corvus or Sif. You can also Fury on 4 if you have Quinjet and Makari made you extra space in hand. Turn 5, you want to play some kind of generated cards, and then turn 6, you're playing yet more generated cards, or you're dropping Sersi to turn a lane that looked like it had no chance into a game winner. So really, it looks really hard to play, and there's a lot of alteration to it, but a lot of it's just like you play the card, you take the chance, and then you see where you land. And again, you have all sorts of cube equity with this deck. Occasionally, Sersi will betray you and you will lose cubes, but outside of that, you have a general working knowledge of when you should stay and when you should go. This deck, for those of you who couldn't afford Arishem, or didn't want Arishem but have these other cards, is an absolutely proven winner. If you would like to see gameplay for that deck, besides checking out Yo Woody, there are many places for you to look. We've got all of the decks today in our friend GamingwithFlashX's Twitch stream at 5 p.m. Eastern. In addition, GamingwithFlashX will have a YouTube video tomorrow morning with gameplay for at least one of these decks up. As of now, Prashaun should have one of our day 1 Arishem decks, a video for that as well. So make sure you keep your eyes peeled for that. Every single day, we have a different streamer, whether it be Gregor, Prashaun, GamingwithFlashX, FaThorNewman, Tuccrr, or the King of Canada, playing these decks to make sure that if you are the type of person who wants a gameplay, we can provide it for you. Alright, this is our first Arishem deck. This is the Lambie Arishem. This is going to become, I believe, the standard build because it's really, really, really good. It is a very powerful and effective build, as a little fly buzzes about me. This is a very powerful and effective build. It does everything you want. You're going to see White Widow and a lot of this just become a totally different card. White Widow is not a card everyone has, but a lot of the other cards here are fairly well owned. A lot of people have Blob because in Thanos, Blob was the best card. Same thing for Mockingbird, right? Hopefully you got Mockingbird. Mockingbird is the best card in Marvel Snap right now, bar none. Legion was the best card in Marvel Snap for a while after he came out. Darkhawk spent like a year as the best card in Marvel Snap. Loki is in a fight with Mockingbird for the best card in Snap and was the best card until Blob came out. So, like, while this is not a cheap deck, a lot of the expensive cards outside of White Widow and Valentina, neither of which are required, are expensive cards that you, if you've been playing long enough and keeping on top of the meta, you should have because they were so powerful. Plus, Darkhawk and Legion, Series 4. All right, you can find Lamby at twitch.tv/LambySeriesTV. He's Lamby Series GG on YouTube. He's the best player in the game. He's the GOAT. Actually, I don't know if he's the best player in the game right now. He also plays another game a fair bit, but he was the best player in the game, and he's the greatest player of all time in Marvel Snap. Arishem is the only needed card, I think, for Arishem decks, which is going to be really good. It's going to make it a really good buy for a lot of people because you don't need these other cards. They make Arishem decks better, right? But you don't need these other cards to make Arishem work. Mockingbird, Blob, and Loki are the high series stuff that make up his package. You would really like those three cards. You're kind of fine without everything else, but if you need to, you can replace with She-Hulk, Magneto, Enchantress, Absorbing Man, or Nick Fury. Cool? Valentina just replaced with Cable. It's no big deal. Valentina is very good in Arishem, probably her best deck outside of Noki, but still, Cable is perfectly fine there. Legion could just be Leech. Legion is in the spot in this deck as a 5-cost control piece. Leech is also a 5-cost control piece that you can play on 4. So either way, basically those are your 2 scam cards. Darkhawk is here for all the mirrors. You can try, I don't know why it says Cable. It should be Dino, Vision. I wonder what I mean there. Absorbing Man, Vision, or Dino. Absorbing Man's really good with Blob, as is Mystique, if you'd prefer that. So you can try one of those with Darkhawk. As long as mirrors are all over the place, you're going to be totally fine. I'll show you a simple Darkhawk beat this deck, and then a non-Darkhawk beat this deck tomorrow, so don't worry about that. Darkhawk is great here. White Widow could be Jeff, Medusa, or any of the above replacements. If I was picking at random, I would probably go with Enchantress. And that's it. It's a really, really simple deck to find replacements for because you've got 12 random cards in there, so your cards you might not even see. You've got less than a 50% chance to see any one of your cards in a game. All right, so turn by turns are going to be ridiculous for Arishem. Fair warning, but I'm going to list as if you were drawing your own cards. Obviously, this changes based on other cards. Turn 1, Quinjet is generally better than Valentina or Widow. If I have Loki in hand on turn 1, a thing I was doing a lot was just sort of passing, unless I had Quinjet or Valentina, just passing. Turn 2, I played this deck, obviously. Turn 2, Coulson is better than a turn 1 play. But again, if I've got Loki in hand and not Coulson, Quinjet, or Valentina, I'm just passing for a nice bigger Loki, and then on turn 3, I'm dropping Loki. And then I have their original card deck, and I feel like I'm very favored, and I can snap into that. Snap, obviously, before that. If you don't have that on turn 3, you're generating cards. If you have Mockingbird out because you generated enough cards already, you can drop Mockingbird on 3. Turn 4, you Legion Scam, but you're also free to Darkhawk. I tend to save Darkhawk for turn 5, but you're fine on turn 4. There tends to be something else with a generated card to do by turn 4. Turn 5, you're doing either turn 4 or Blob. If you drew a 5, you play a 5, perfectly fine. Blob is generally speaking here. And then turn 6, Blob or Rogue/Shang-Chi, plus whatever else you can. And yes, you can actually just Rogue and Shang-Chi to end the game. Fair warning, when Rogue hits a Blob, it will become a Blob. Cool? When Rogue gets a Darkhawk, it'll become a Darkhawk, which is less good for you, but it does take off all that power from their Darkhawk. And Shang-Chi obviously just takes care of that problem altogether by going boop, pop that card. One last look. This is the GOAT's Arishem deck. This is going to be, I think, the baseline version of the list within 1 or 2 cards, and it is worth getting to know, paying attention to. Welcome to Marvel Snap Arishem. I believe this is going to be a card in the meta for a long time. If you are interested in Marvel Snap tournaments and participating in Marvel Snap tournaments, Snap Judgments League Season 3 kicks off on July 8th. Signups end this Friday. You have to be a $1 patron, but the winner of a pod of 32 gets a season pass. And then those players go into a top 8 for up to $500 more in prizes. So there is an absolute ton to gain here. I understand that everyone who plays or most people who play, are busy adults. And so that And since they're busy adults, you only are required to play 1 game a week on your own schedule. So this is a really great deal. If you're interested, please join the Snap Judgments League Discord or check out the Patreon link in the description to this video. All right, Snap Masters 3 is we have all the qualifiers. So this is an invitational tournament. The top 4 from Snap Masters 2 made it. Then there were 8 invitees, and then there were 6 more people who made it through open qualifications. They are Sizer, the current number 2 player, the Great Spyro. Those two will be on our podcast together in about 2 weeks. FAK Andre Var, phenomenal player. FAK I Lost Son. That team FAK is the team throwing this tournament. They're amazing players. We also have Streamer Johnson, Korean player, phenomenal player. Torikun, who won the biggest Marvel Snap tournament ever. Desmond, who shapes the meta in ways you don't know. The aforementioned Lambie series. W, the best deck builder in the game. Brauda, who is Marvel Snap News, the Marvel Snap Bugle on Twitter. Husky Puppies, the creator of the Hella list that ran Colleen Wing, that was everywhere for a while. Phenomenal player, finished in the top 5 last season. And the great Avazord, Brazilian player, on the podcast last week. Phenomenal, is just near the top of the Infinite Leaderboard all the time. Open Qualifications 1, we talked about last week, were owned by FAK Yakovlevich, SV Roy, and Sid Kazuma. We're going to talk about Open Qualifications 2, which were won by Fed1BP. We also have our friend Sanutora making it, and Aruma. All right, so Aruma came in 3rd place with this really cool Cerebro 3 list. We're going to do a deck guide to the number 1 deck, not to all the decks. Cool. So also, that giveaway is coming up in the in like 3 slides, so make yourself ready. Aruma finished 3rd place with a very cool Cerebro 3 list, and if I told you that someone came in 3rd in a tournament running Rhino, you'd call me a liar. But fundamentally, this is just like, I don't want to deal with any BS, I don't want to deal with magic. When I want the location gone, I just want the location gone. Rhino does that, so he is in the deck. Sanatoria has a Loki Phoenix. We covered a Loki Phoenix by KX4N last week. Sanatoria said, none of that BS. Let's go with the classic version. Or rather, the classic version with an extra tribunal. This deck has 3.5 basic win patterns. You can make a huge Human Torch with Phoenix Force and then go Living Tribunal on that, and then spread that huge Human Torch power. You can make a bunch of multiple men with Phoenix Force and drag them all over the board, or you can go Shuri, Nimrod, eat it twice, and just have 24 power in 2 lanes. So multiple ways to win. This is a very powerful list. I'm happy to see the old style Phoenix Force not being pushed out by the change to the card. Sorry, let's be clear, because someone's going to ask in the comments. Phoenix Force used to have a bunch of movement tricks based on the awkwardness of move, but in a recent patch they changed it so move always happens first each turn, and that changed a lot of the tricks, meaning Phoenix Force is slightly worse in a lot of pocket situations and has less cube equity for experts. But Senator is an expert and came in 2nd in this tournament. Our 1st place deck is someone I'm not aware of. It's Fed1BP, who won with a frickin' Sandman list. And if you told me that this Sandman list beat that Phoenix Force list, I would be surprised. But Goliath is really good. Fundamentally is my logic here, and Sandman limits what they can do. This is a very... Oh, and Gladiator is unbelievable in this matchup, as is Red Guardian. Yeah, okay, I guess I see it. This is a really cool list. This is basically Sandman good stuff. It's not running any ramp. It's just saying I'm going to play a good, clean game of Marvel Snap, and then at the end, because I've played 1 or 2 cards a turn, I can drop a Sandman, I can drop a Doom or Goliath, and just close out the game. So I'm really excited for the tournament, which kicks off pretty soon. The actual tournament is kicking off soon for the Snap Masters, and we're going to do our best to get some gameplay of that for you, and we'll, of course, always have all the exclusive decks for you. So, White Widow can be Medusa in this list. You lose a bit, but not terribly much. This needs Jeff and Ms. Marvel. Nebula can be Iceman or Nightcrawler. I lean toward Nightcrawler, but Iceman's always a great card. Red Guardian can be Rogue. That's actually really tough. Red Guardian's the 2nd hardest card to replace. For Nocturne and Gladiator, we're looking at Polaris and Spider-Man, although without that Gladiator, I'm pretty sure this loses to Phoenix Force. And Goliath can be Red Hulk or Magneto. The real big power of Goliath, to me, personally, right now, is Surfer is one of the 3 to 5 best decks in Marvel Snap, and Goliath eats Silver Surfer. Goliath with Sandman especially eats Silver Surfer. All right, giveaway time. So my giveaway question is, how interested are you in Marvel Snap tournaments? Do you want to participate in them? Do you prefer leagues or single day tournaments? Would you be interested in in-person tournament? Because tomorrow we're announcing an in-person tournament at Brookland. Our friend Super Tech God, we're helping sponsor it. I'll be there. Super Tech God will be there. A bunch of great Marvel Snap players will be there at Brookland in Brooklyn. Are you interested in that? Are you not really interested in competing, but interested in decks and so on, or what won and so what's competitive? Are you interested in decks just because you know they're successful? Or are you interested in them because they're in tournaments? Or do you just not care about tournaments? Let me know what you think in the comments to this video, please. All right, sorry. By the way, if that wasn't clear, that's how you win the season pass today. What do you think about tournaments in Marvel Snap? How interested in them are you, and to what extent? All right. So turn 1, Nebula. Turn 2, Widow is generally better than Cable. This is rough, because in a tournament, like Cable early, Widow late. But the other reason I really like Cable here is Widow's great with Sandman, right? Like, it's really hard for them to fill the lane with Sandman. But Cable early gives you information. Our friend Butt, who won Snap Judgment League Season 2, likes to put Cable Index because it lets you early on in a match, a Conquest match in particular, or a tournament, bluff snap. Like, if you can get their key combo piece, right? Like, let's stick with Surfer since we were talking about it. You get their Surfer, that's an immediate snap, right? So you can bluff, you can play Cable, bluff that you have their Surfer. If they stay, you just got valuable information. If they stay, you now know that they have Surfer in hand and you know what you need to beat. You can still retreat for 2 cubes at that point. Make sense? Good. Turn 3, Gladiator or Nocturne are generally better than Red Guardian. Red Guardians for specific cards, we're thinking like Thena. Turn 4, Ms. Marvel or a 3. I'm perfectly fine going like Gladiator into Nocturne here and not playing Ms. Marvel yet, because Ms. Marvel and Jeff to end the game are just so powerful. They are, again, better and more power than Doom. Turn 5, Sandman is generally better than Claw. And then turn 6, you have Eliath versus Doom. And Doom is more or less equal to Ms. Marvel plus Jeff. And you can always play a 3 in Jeff if a Red Guardian and Jeff, for example, is going to win the game. What you're going to see a lot of is Darkhawk sitting alone right now. And then you just drop a Red Guardian on it and Jeff, and you can steal that lane out from under them that they thought was so safe. Hopefully this makes sense. This deck is very powerful, very cool, and honestly, relatively cheap, right? Almost everything here that's expensive is replaceable. This is ultimately a Sandman Ms. Marvel deck. As long as you have those 2 cards and Jeff, you are capable of playing a deck like this to fairly competitive play. Again, don't forget to let me know what you think about tournament play in Marvel Snap. Custom card challenge time. This is our Drewberry Memorial. Enjoy. What's the name of that game? Conquerors. Enjoy Rivals, Drewberry. Drewberry's loaned us a part of his Discord so we could do a custom card challenge. We're doing it once every 2 weeks because since Drewberry's not as active, his Discord's not quite as active. But we've got a custom card challenge. It was Summer and Growth, and we have 2 winners. Our first winner is JD, who came with this Rachel Summers. Rachel Summers, the alternate future child of Cyclops and Phoenix, who became Mother Ascani, who ended up taking Cable into the future. It gets very complicated. It's X-Men. So the ability for Rachel Summers is, after one of your other cards in play has its ability triggered, this gains +1 power. And that doesn't mean like an ongoing or an on-reveal. That's your other ability. So Nebula, Bishop, Thena. But it'll work if Odin, Grandmaster, Absorbman trigger an on-reveal, which means it should work with like silly Wong Mystique stuff. If you can like go Wong Mystique and then play another card on there, all those extra triggers will shoot this as power right up. It also works great in High Evolutionary with cards like Cyclops and Misty Knight, and it's a great card with Ravonna Renslayer because Ravonna gets it out earlier, and obviously getting a power card out or a scaling card out earlier is better. Our next card is Sun Girl, created by Voltron. After each turn, double this card's power if you played more cards than your opponent. I think that's very cool. We've never had an ability like that. This feels like Ravonna to me. It probably is too good, but I'm willing to take that chance. It's really great with Bast, Forge, Ironheart, and Hulkbuster. You get a little bit extra power on that. The doubling goes really nuts. Interestingly, that Ironheart play works with Ravona, but Bast, Forge, and Hulkbuster will not necessarily. Bast actually has counter synergy there. Zoo and Black Swan will love this because you can drop it early, and then as you're playing these extra cards, you should be good. Of course, like if you want to win one of these, the secret is pick a bounce deck. I love bounce. This works amazingly in bounce. You play a bunch of cards, you bounce it back, you play a bunch of cards. It's lovely. And Kitty bounces herself, so she's amazing. Congrats to Jay, and congrats to Voltron for the win this week. These are really, really cool cards. We've got until 7:15, 2 weeks, for the next one. Our theme is Arishem. I want cards that are good in Arishem decks. Arishem is super cool, and the keyword is synergy. If you'd like to participate, please join Drewberry's Discord. It's linked in the video every day. And check out snaptracker.me/custom if you just want to make some custom cards. All right, our last deck of the day is Owlshem, Owl God, Owl Dog. The Owl is back with a Lockjaw Arishem deck. This is a really cool list. I won a couple gold matches, and then I had to make a video. It is very late at night as I record this, friends. Because I kept screwing around in Snap. I got to like rank 8 and 50, so hey, not bad. This is Owlshem. This is a super cool Arishem deck that basically says, I'm just gonna go big. Screw you, I'm just gonna go big. This one really wants to see Lockjaw, but Phastos and Jubilee do the job basically, and you know, you can just draw other early stuff. The most common card you draw is 3. There are more 3s than anything. Also, if you'd like Arishem fun facts, we're skipping questions of the day today for some Arishem fun facts from our friend Lauren Whatevs. Alright, so you can find Owl at twitter.com/owlsnap. Phastos here can be Hope, Cable, or Wave. I tend to lean toward Hope. I think Hope on 2 is very strong. I don't know why no one's talking about Hope in this deck, but hey, what are you going to do? Blob can be Red Hulk, Infinite, She-Hulk, or just Hulk. Good. Blob is really, really, really good and a key card. But this is like the cheapest Arishem you're going to find anywhere because like Phastos is just sort of nonsense. You really just need Blob and Arishem to make this one work. No one's talking about this, but a reasonable way to win with they should probably end up running Mystique or Absorbing Man just for the Shang-Chi and Enchantress, if nothing else, or the Jubilee. But okay. But no one's talking about how powerful Blob on turn 5 into Zola is right now, but it is one of the better ways to play this deck right now. It won me a game. Alright, so Owl God is one of the best brewers in Marvel Snap. If you remember, Lambie created the original Silky Smooth when no one was playing that deck. He got the idea from Owl God, who kept winning tournaments with a very unrefined Magneto version of those decks. Lambie basically took it and made it like hyper-focused. Owl has created a million super distinct and interesting decks. He's like the mad scientist of Marvel Snap, so anytime he creates a deck, we do our best to feature it here. So turn 1, you pass, you hold M'Baku, if possible. Turn 2, you would love to Phastos. Turn 3, if you can, Lockjaw, if not Jubilee. Turn 4, again, obviously, there's other generated cards that will mess this up, right? Or change when you don't draw these, that's fine. Turn 4, Leech is generally over Lockjaw because Leech is just so strong. Obviously, read the board. Sometimes Lockjaw will be better. And that's better than Lockjaw, which is better than Jubilee, pending the board. Turn 5, you would like to play Magneto or cards into Lockjaw or Blob. And then turn 6, you would like to play Blob or your tech cards. And then you win, because this deck, if it gets like Lockjaw, it's just through the roof power. Phastos is also great here. I'm reasonably sure that Hope is every bit as good as Phastos here. Just putting that out there for everybody, anyone who's listening, anyone who's curious. I'm reasonably sure we're going a little crazy with Phastos in this deck, but I think Hope is better because Hope is more consistent. Outside of that, this list is just put power on board, win because you have crazy power. Lockjaw is still OP if you forgot how good Lockjaw was. Questions of the day are on hiatus until tomorrow. Tomorrow we will answer our usual 5 questions because we've got some cool Arishem facts from our friend Lauren Whatevs, who you should check out both on Marvel Snap Zone and on Twitter. So there is a 26.2% chance to generate a vanilla card. Lauren did a bunch of math using factorials to get there. I don't understand how that math happened, but there's a 26.2% chance that Arishem will generate you a vanilla card. We're talking our Wasps, our Cyclopses, so on. And we're going to skip down to number 4 because Evo and Arishem happen in a random order. If you play High Evolutionary and Arishem at the beginning of the game, which start of game effect happens first is completely random, which is wild. So you could generate like a Cyclops and then have Evolutionary hit it, or not. Cool. It has a 40.1% chance of duplicating a card that's already in your deck. It's worth noting, though, that that 26.2% chance and that 40.1% chance do not allow for, do not mean that you're going to draw them, because you still don't have a great chance of drawing any given card in your deck, but there's a chance that they're in the deck. Arishem cannot generate Arishem, as best we can tell, but it can generate Agatha, and it definitely did that in 2 Conquest games in a row for me. I won one and lost one. Next up, Evo. Oh, I did that one. And then we've got one more thing. This was said in Lambie's chat. Lambie loved it. I think it's a great take for Arishem. Reminder to anyone who's new here, tomorrow I will have at least 5, more likely 10, given how many people bought Arishem, give their day 1 takes on Arishem about whether or not you should buy him and what its power level is. So we're talking people like Tanjo, people like Lambie, people like, I don't know, people like Sizer, people like the top of the Infinite leaderboard and the most successful players in Marvel Snap will give their initial takes on Arishem. So, power cheat is godlike, and information disparity can be leveraged by skilled players. Says someone in Lambie's chat that Lambie loved and stole and posted on Twitter. So the power cheat is amazing, it's so strong, and the information disparity is bad. The random cards are bad, but the information disparity they create let you leverage and win a bunch of games of Snap. Cool. Arishem is a real card. Welcome to the new world of Marvel Snap. Expect to see this card an awful lot. All right, we have a Patreon. Certain tiers of support on our Patreon come with on-air thanks. If you're interested in checking this out, check out patreon.com/snapjudgments. I'd like to say thank you to Abigail Giesland, Mandatory Burnout, Cables, Irregardless, David G. Wingfield, Direwolf, LAB, FaThorNewman, Good Dog Gamer, This Is the Way, Inc., I Am Frostman, Jay Neverite, Doomer, Rhyme Brian, Kiertixley, Koiray, Pyrophoros, The Goat Seeker, Denman Falcon, Pause, happy birthday to our friend Denman Falcon, longtime supporter, monster tournament player, great person. Happy birthday, Denman. Quid Pro Joe, Docty, the king of new Marvel Snap card content, Fat Nick, Doku, Ginger Prime, Philip Ratkovich, Haplo, Kenny Loggins of the Danger Zone, Rob Silverman, The Bizza, X-Force V and Skippy G, Tommy Nyquist, Snap Judgment's League Season 1 champion, The King of Bros, Black Dahlia, The Great Kazoo, Jessica Gamble, Ryan Wood, Kev Sihota, Lunacris, Archangel 3K, Louis Antones, Mod Supreme Models, Darth Tater, Rema Setala, Brian Kaufman, Tristan H. Martin, Jason B., JD McDonaldino, who has a deck. That's his Arishem deck is nuts. That'll be tomorrow. The Fuzzy Dunlop, Spectrumix, Matt H., Mikey Hijinks, No Frickin' Flex, Ocularis, Greg Sterry, Seamus, Jonesy, Two Ties, The Pirate King Tuccrr, The Homie Min, and of course, Gunny T, where the T stands for. Thank you for watching. This was a good one. This was a long one, and we'll see you tomorrow. Appreciate the support. Don't miss out on another chance to win the season pass then, and 4 more great decks. Peace.